all of you now that we are live on all our streaming platforms. So everyone who's listening into us, if you've joined us from Zoom, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, a big hi, a big welcome to all of you. And a big hi and a big welcome to all of you. If you have any questions, any thoughts, any comments while we have this discussion with our set of founders here, please put in your thoughts and your comments in the comment section below. I will be navigating and I'll try to take up as many questions as possible. If you're joining us on Zoom, there's a chat option right here. Please write down your thoughts, comments, and questions. Panelists, if you want to privately also answer some of the questions while we're having the discussion, feel free to do so. Otherwise, we'll try to take up as many questions as possible. So on that note, I'm officially beginning the session. So hi and welcome everybody. Welcome to Greytip HR presents Startup Leadership Virtual Conference powered by ObserveNow. A quick note about ObserveNow. We are a knowledge-based news media app live on Google Play as of now. We are a knowledge-based news media app. When I say that, that means an app for increasing your general knowledge. And we are coming up with India's first citizens journalism app in the next month. So stay tuned for that. And a bit of a brief on Greytip HR. I think Rashmi would be the best person to do. So today we are here to talk about how we use tech to navigate through the current COVID-19 crisis. And I have a very diverse set of panelists, all founders and co-founders of various companies. Allow me to welcome my panelists here. We've got Mr. Hemant Sahal, who's the founder and CEO of Callpoint. Hi, Mr. Hemant. We've got Mr. Aman Arora, who's the co-founder and head of technology at Leverage GPU. Hi, Mr. Aman.
Hello.
We've got Mr. Neerav Jain, who's the founder of City Furnish. Hi, Mr. Jain.
Hi, thanks for having us.
We've got Mr. Ravi Saxena, who's the managing director of Wonderchef Home Appliances. Hi. We've got Ms. Sangeeta Bavi, who's the director of Startup Ecosystem at Microsoft. Hi, Ms. Sangeeta.
Hey,
and we've got Mr. Ahmed Aftab Naqvi, who's the CEO and co-founder of Gazop. And one more panelist who we are waiting for to join in, who will join us in another 5 minutes, is Mr. Anu Grover, founder and CEO of Nurturing Dreams. So Mr. Grover will be there in another 5 minutes. But in the meantime, I think Rashmi, you can start off with your quick presentation. I'm making you the co-host, and we'll quickly move on to the session now. Thank you, everyone.
Sure, Tanya. Thank you. And good evening, everyone. I'm Rashmi from GreatHR, and I'm here to give you a small presentation on how GreatHR is relevant in today's time. So to give you details on that, I think I'll have to share my videos. So please excuse me for a second. I hope you all can see my screen there.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Okay, so to start off with, as we all know, most modern businesses today need the tools with the help of which they can track their employee lifecycle activities, and that's how they simplify their work and get deeper insights with zero efforts, right? So in other words, to simply put it across, a simple HR system is a must for all the organizations today. So I can say that GreatHR is one such efficient tool which offers automatic and smart solutions which vanishes the concerns and makes your workplace a fun zone. Now, I'm sure you're very eager to know more about this. But before that, I'll just take you through what we'll be discussing.
Am I the only one having trouble in hearing Rashmi, or is everybody having some problem? I'm able to hear.
Hope I'm audible to all of you.
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Okay.
All right, so I think we are going to continue. Okay, so coming back to this presentation here, we'll be first talking about how important is this SaaS products in today's life. And not just that, what is this GreatHR all about, what it has offered for the customers, and how about the pricing and who are our customers. So we'll be talking all about this. And to begin with, I would like to talk about the SaaS products first. Because if you have to define SaaS in a very simple way, it is nothing but the cloud software, right? When we compare this SaaS products, software as a service products, with our traditional on-premises software solutions, I can say that the advantages are huge. may it be your installation, it is definitely easy. And not just that, even the data accessibility. Today's time, all of us have realized the importance of data accessibility, right? All of us would want to access our data from wherever we are, and that too at any point of time, right? So I can say that SaaS product is one such convenient offering that industry has given us, which offers this excellent accessibility. And not just that, here the best part is it is cost effective as well. We just pay for the resources what we use, and that too with superior data security. So when we talk about data, since we are the crucial part of the organization, all of us understand the importance of the data of the employee management, right? So we often get worried about the backups, the frequent that we have to do. But I can say that in SaaS products, all of this is automated. And not just that, it is also very flexible and open to integrations. When I say integration, it is like, we definitely expect the multiple HR functions to be performed by our tool, right? So SaaS products are such tools which will provide you those multiple integration platform, thereby making your work easier. And not just these, there are many more to list out. So I think if we talk about it, it just goes on for days. So these are few important highlights of SaaS products. And after we understand the significance of these SaaS products, here I introduce Great HR, the India's first ever fully integrated cloud-based HR and payroll software solution. It offers the relevant and cost-effective software solutions. Now, if you ask me what is so special about Great HR, Ashmi, here we go, friends. So as you all can see, it has got the powerful automation options, and its cost-effective nature makes it a preferred choice of about 9,000 plus brands all over the world. And it also has gained the reputation of processing around 10 lakh pay slips on regular basis. So after this, the number they themselves talk here. And if you ask me, okay, what is there in Great HR for me? Here we have. So it offers all the modules that is required to carry out your entire employee lifecycle activities without any hassles. So right from onboarding your employee through leave and attendance and till the final settlement of employee, everything is taken care here. Now, since we are from that important part of the organization, we definitely understand how many set of activities take place while we carry out all these administration, right? So to ensure that all of these activities are carried out in a much smoother way and efficiently, we also have this unique module called tasks and checklist, which comes with your entire package of Great HR tool. All right. And talking about today's topic, all of us are going through these tough times, right? In fact, due to this pandemic, many companies are ensuring their survival by experimenting on various things. It could be your cost cutting, it could be your salary deferment, or the layoffs here and there. So there are many measures that the companies are taking to ensure that they survive in the industry, right? And also to top on it, government is also helping the citizens by providing various relief measures. One important among such relief measures is our PF relief, right? So what I'm trying to tell you all here is, may it be your salary revision, may it be the PF relief or COVID relief measures you are looking for, all of it is there here readily available in Great HR. So all you need to do for this is just visit our website and explore our product. And if you ask me about how is your service, Rashmi, so we have excellent support team which is always on its toes to help our customers, which is accessible and there for your support at any point of time. And if you ask me how about the pricing of this one, Rashmi, so it's highly affordable, I can say here, friends. Okay, so we have various monthly subscriptions that we are offering to the customers. And to explore our product, you can also visit our page, and here are our happy customers. In fact, to list them, these are quite a few, but we have much more than these. So you'll get all of this information in our website, www.greathr.com. And if you're curious to explore our product, we also have this a free 30 days trial account sign up for anyone who is interested. So all you need to do is either visit our website or just simply drop in your contact details in the survey link that Tanya and team is going to share with all of you, so that our team can get in touch with you and help you explore the product in much better way. So with this note, I'm going to end the presentation now. Thank you all for listening to me so patiently, and thanks for your time too. So over to you, Tanya.
Thanks, Rashmi. And I guess you can stop sharing your screen as well now. And Mr. Grover has also joined us. Hi, Mr. Grover.
Yeah, hi, how are you?
Very good. How are you doing?
Very well, very well.
Thanks for joining us. And we've already done a bit of an ice-breaking session, but now I'm going to quickly move on to the session since we do have a limited set of time. But a quick note to everyone who's here. So my Wi-Fi has been acting funny today. So if in case I kind of log out, it takes another 2 to 3 minutes for the Wi-Fi to reboot once the power's back. So you can continue the discussion because I am going to join back in another 2 minutes if in case there is a power failure.
Don't worry.
On that note, thank you very much for understanding. So on that note, I want to obviously quickly start off with my first question here. And I want to understand from you guys that this is a very difficult time, literally unprecedented time that we are living in right now. Nobody had predicted something like this would happen. So at this point in time, as startup founders and as leaders of your organization, how do you think you could best navigate your company at this point in time? What are the crisis management plans that have to be put in action or that you have already put in action in your organization? And how have you led your company from the first lockdown to this point? And I'm going to start off with Mr. Hemant because I can see you first on my screen. So we'll start off with that.
Thanks, Tanya. Indeed, I think a very important topic on. So I think three very important things is as founders or leaders of organizations, we have to very specifically see how this situation impacts the space we are in. Like for example, I run a enterprise edtech company. We work with the best universities in the country like Ashoka and Jindal and Manipal and several others. So, for example, our space has boomed. We have grown almost double in the last 3 months. So our plans would be very different than somebody who is, let's say, in traveling or transportation space.
But in your case, Hemant, I think one thing else that one other thing that you should add to your opening statement is that I think the work pressure would have also increased because EdTech has seen a sudden boom. So how have you sort of managed your team and employees as well at this point?
Absolutely. And that's exactly what I was going to next. So I think one, understanding how this situation impacts your space and then setting the right goals, communicating that to your investors and board members is very critical because that percolates down to your team members, right? So that's one. Second, whether the business is going to be going up or it's going to take a hit a bit in the next few months will immediately, impact your hiring plans, your plans to also let go some of the team members maybe. And this is a tough time in a regular environment. It's not that difficult to let go people because if you have talented people, they will find roles very quickly elsewhere. So today you have to be very empathetic before you take a call on, maybe letting go somebody. And also on the work pressures, because when you're going to office, you see each other, the kind of enthusiasm and that collaboration is very high. So now when you're in isolation, you have no clue somebody is not feeling well or somebody had some challenges at home and you're trying to push them to get something done late night, let's say. So I think that context, understanding that you need to put additional efforts to know your team members, what they are going through, what other challenges they have right now. Somebody's brother might have lost a job or a sister, or parents are actually going through a salary cut. So I think understanding that each and every team member, and as the leaders we can't do it alone. So then building that right organizational policy where every team member is spending time with their subordinates and talking to them regularly to understand what is very important.
And as a leader, how often do you communicate to all segments
Yeah,
of your team?
absolutely. So regularly communicating with your team members, creating opportunities to have more, I would say, casual discussions and not just be limited to transactional work is very important. And finally, I think whatever goals you're setting for business, communicating that to your team is very important. Because sometimes they might see, oh, you are signing up so many customers, but why the salary hikes are not happening? Or some of them would have questions saying, okay, where are we? What's the plan for the organization? Communicating the investor, for example, in startups, raising capital is very common, right?
Right.
So communicating to your teams, when are you planning to do the next fundraise? What are your timings? So that they don't have any wrong expectations from you is very important. So these are the three things I would share initially. And just one last thought here is that I think organizations will get restructured a lot going forward. For example, in our business, our implementations are going completely digital. We are implementing to institutions in Dubai, Malaysia, and other regions sitting here, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are actually selling digitally completely, where earlier this was not happening. So as organizational leaders, we also have to see what are the new set of skills our team members need to have going forward, communicating that proactively to your team members, that if you have a sales leader, if you have a customer success team member, communicating to them, hey, this is what I'm expecting from you going forward, because this is what will work, not what was there earlier. And then giving them time to prepare for it, and then also giving them setting the right expectations, that if they don't meet those skill sets in the coming period, then what they should plan for. So that is something I would like to share.
Absolutely. That's, I think, the most important. Thank you very much for that thought, Mr. Hemant. Can I move on to Mr. Ahmed now and have your opening statements and introduction and thoughts on this?
Sure, Tanya. So, Tanya, firstly, we started a process of working from home much before the lockdown was officially implemented. And that gave us a bit of a runway to just try out what works, what doesn't. Providing our teammates with the right tools and equipment so that they can work seamlessly from home was the first step that we did. After that, the next thing that we did is we gave everyone a commitment, because there was so much panic everywhere. No one knew what is going to happen, right? And we said, you know what? For us, what comes first is the team that has got us here. How are with the team in these tough times? And we made a commitment that there'll be no COVID-related layoffs. So I think that really eased a lot of things in the ecosystem and the company as well. So that's the second thing that we did. And a lot of ongoing thing that we're doing in terms of checking in with the teammates all the time, making sure that there are well-defined boundaries where we get onto the Zoom calls and collaborate and work, because suddenly your home is your office now. And it's very easy to, the lines to blur between home, family life and work life, right? And we as leaders and as entrepreneurs have to be respectful of everyone's work-life balance as well, right? So to ensure that that is happening, also in these times where people are not able to go out, a lot of people in places like Bombay are living in a very small space as well, right? With entire family members and everyone. So making sure that they have some kind of an outlet to speak. So we got some counselors on board, right? And we have a primarily young workforce. We'll be around a team of 200 and average age will be around 25. So a very young workforce, right?
Very young workforce.
So that...
so I'm sure that comes with its own set of challenges as well. And also, Ahmed, if you could quickly take our audience through Guzop as well, as in terms of the functioning as well, I think that would lay a better context for them.
So we started in 2008, just like the cliched startup stories, we also started from a garage in Bombay itself. And our initial clients were Snapdeal and Madover Donuts, primarily offering digital marketing services. We have grown over the years in the past 12 years. As of today, we are one of India's largest independent digital first marketing company. And we manage brands like right from your Tata Steel to Bisleri to Kolkata Knight Riders to Dell computers, everything when it comes to their digital marketing primarily. And for some brands like Taj Hotels or Mahindra, we also do their mainline work, which is the traditional advertising, which since the COVID times has gone down lesser, while digital has come up exponentially in these times. So that's primarily what we do at GoZoo. And we have SparkNets, which is our early stage startup accelerator, where we provide horizontal access to our design, technology, and marketing services, and help people from the idea stage to the first round of funding.
Right. So any specific challenge that you felt, because as you said, you have a primary workforce of young people. So as I said, I think that also understanding millennials, Gen Z, boomers, I think that's another ballgame altogether. So how did you manage that balance? Was there any specific policy put into place, or were you more effectively communicative to the rest of your team? How did it work?
Yeah. So, Tanya, a couple of things that we did. One is that our town halls, which used to happen anyway, we increased the frequency of that, and also doing much more informal get-togethers with the team,
Right.
which is no agenda, not about work, right? Just asking them how they're feeling, and at times simple questions just get the most complex answers, from people that you would not expect. So making sure that communication line is open was the first thing that we did. Right. The second thing that we did is we made sure that in these times, if someone is struggling with on a personal front, we have good access to counselors for them. The third aspect that we did is that we made sure that for us, creativity is very important in the business that we are in, right? And normally people used to think that creativity only happens in a room when everyone is sitting together and brainstorming ideas. So we had to also change that mindset and to lead from the front by doing some very creative campaigns while everyone is still at home, right? To make sure that, to tell everyone that this is possible, right? Where we did some of these very recently award-winning campaigns for GNC and for Taj Hotels in lockdown, where earlier we used to require a huge production setup and stuff. We realized that a lot less things are required. And to make everyone realize that things can happen, life will move on, we have to be adaptable, we have to be agile, and just making sure that there is transparency and communication going on everywhere. The other thing that I feel that we try to instill in everyone, that this new normal is new for everyone, right? So there'll be learning and unlearning for everyone, right?
I think some network issue at Mr. Ahmed's end. Yeah, I think in the meantime, while he fixes it, I will move on to Mr. Neerav Jain. And Neerav, if you could also give us your opening statement and your thoughts on this.
Great. So hi everyone, I am Neerav. I'm the founder CEO at City Furnish. At City Furnish, we primarily provide furniture and appliances on rental subscription. And again, being an operation intensive business, I think lockdown and the COVID situation definitely did affect us. But obviously it brought on a lot of new opportunities as well. As Ahmed also pointed out earlier in that we were looking to get in, a lot of people were requiring work from home solutions. And I think City Furnish was kind of aptly prepared and ready for that. So we had a very good uptick in demand for like study tables, chairs, etc. Where people were trying to accommodate in their homes to set up their own small workspace within their home environment itself. Three primary things we did to kind of handle or manage these situations. On a very quick note, first, be very transparent to everyone within our team about how this situation is affecting us business-wise, personal-wise, and obviously at a company-wise. We also kind of primarily decided that we, being a profitable startup, we don't have to incur any COVID-related layoffs at this moment of time. So that was the first major thing. The second thing was to kind of communicate across to our complete stakeholders. So not just to the customers, but even with our investors, our team members, and even our vendor partners, so that we have a fair bit of an idea of how this industry turnaround is happening and how we can kind of affect the change which is going to be coming in post-COVID world. So that was the second major thing. The last and final thing we kind of thought about, or we did a work on, is basically focusing on retention versus acquisition. So what I primarily mean is, in our business, being a subscription-led economy, we are more focused on retaining the existing subscribers than acquiring new subscribers during the COVID time. So I think in a lot of digital or subscription-led businesses, I think that approach has been very crucial for us to follow the retention side of it and control the churn, and then obviously focus on the acquisition. And I think because of it, we've been able to see the demand uptake also happening post the lockdown has been over, and I think we are kind of very confident about the industry as a whole. And I think if right now is a more basic time to kind of focus on the basics, right, and to do that well. One thing we do have is a little different from the panelists is that we have understood that there is a Zoom fatigue as well. So we have a kind of a hands-off approach from our team that we don't do a lot of Zoom meetings and etc. We do have a very good communication platform where everyone do like kind of does talk to each other and communicate well. But we do have this kind of an optional meeting setup where obviously if you want to talk and you want to join in, definitely to come in for an informal meeting or a discussion. But it's not compulsory. So anyone who has a Zoom fatigue can definitely log off as well. So I think that's been our approach, and I think people are also appreciating the time off as a way and working from home.
Has there been some turbulence in your employee setup as well? What kind of requests or what kind of challenges have come up? Have people been communicative about their problems as well at this point in time?
Definitely. So I think there have been definitely some challenges. Majorly, I think personal challenges. I would say going on into the work life as well. So obviously, we've been able to help them out in terms of obviously providing them stability and trust factor, so that they can also rely on us and trust our company. A second thing was to provide them a sense of again a belonging or a sense of ownership to the work they are doing or the kind of change they are trying to bring in. And I think that has affected to bring in a very kind of a positive sense of attitude in the kind of work they're trying to do. So again, it's as I think other panelists have also said that obviously it's a way of surviving in this COVID times right now, but the work is still has to be done. The work is still there, but obviously I think the way the things are being done is just being changed. So I think the team has been able to fairly adapt to that. And again, I think as we also have a comparatively younger workforce, with an average age of 26 to 27. I think the younger ages, I think more digital friendly. So we haven't seen any major shift or drop in productivity due to a work from home setup.
And has anyone been diagnosed with COVID-19 in your organization? Actually, that's a question I want to ask each and everyone.
So luckily, no, we did have a few scares where we were obviously very concerned. Again, because so our part of our business is work from home. But obviously, the operations part where we have to do the physical deliveries are not something can be done from home. We have to open our fulfillment centers and get the delivery and etc. done. So we've been very careful about following safety protocols for the team, and we were even a little bit patient. So
no one was diagnosed with a COVID positive?
No, at least as of now, no one. Luckily, there were a few scares, but they came out to be negative, so it's positive.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Just a quick question from Hemant and Ahmad, if both of you could also tell me the same thing. Has anyone in your organization been diagnosed COVID positive? And if yes, then how did you deal with it? Before I move on to the rest of the panelists, just a quick thing.
No, touch wood, Tanya, not yet. And we hope that it remains the same. However, there have been certain family members of our teammates which have tested positive. And those have been trying and testing time for everyone, not just for them, but for the entire team. And those things, I think certain things that we have done very differently, that we have enabled a provision for, very quick loans from the company. If a teammate buyers, because these are unforeseen times. So above and beyond their salary, they could take a quick loan from us, which is obviously interest-free, and to be cut later subsequently in future salary, just to ease out if financial.
All right. What about Mr. Sahal, if you could tell us that the same thing?
Yeah, so we did have so we are working from home since I think mid of March. So nobody has gone to office till then. But we still had one team member who got COVID positive.
Right. And how did you deal with that?
Initially, we had to help him out because he got a bit desperate in the sense that there were people trying to rip him off by asking him 8,000 rupees for an ambulance pickup, and he was desperate to even get that done.
Yeah.
So we had to sort of give him emotional support and tell him that don't worry, it's not something that will immediately hit you. It will, you need to just get some and then find doctor. So we had to help him a little, but in these cases, I think something which we don't realize, there's hardly anything you can do in these cases. You can't take the person to the doctor, because you can't be in contact. The government has very strict guidelines on this. So the only way the person can get any help is reach out to the government authorities. Like in Bangalore's case, it's BBMP. So, you feel helpless sitting at your places saying that, hey, look, not much I can do. So, but luckily the person is back. It's been more than a week that he is tested negative back home. And hopefully we are, would move back to his hometown with his parents after some time. So I think very difficult to extend any support to somebody who gets into this, except what like Ahmed said, financial support is one, but in our case, we do cover our team members quite well in terms of insurance. So that's not really a problem. But, and that's a big advice I would.
Emotional support is something that they require more. All right,
Yeah.
we'll get back to you on that. Mr. Aman, if you could give your opening statements as well on the kind of contingency plans that you've created, how you've dealt with the company so far, and also if you could include has anyone tested positive and how you dealt with it, if so. I think you're on mute. You're on mute from your end.
Okay, are you able to hear me now?
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm Aman. I'm a co-founder at Leverage Edu, and we started Leverage Edu back in 2017, and have been helping students across India since then to choose best matched careers and higher education options to them. This is done basically by providing them access to personalized mentors and leading global universities. And in terms of COVID situation and how we dealt with it, we also started work from home pretty early before even government asked for the lockdown. And since then, communication has been the key for us as well. We increased frequency of town halls so that everyone is very well communicated on what exactly the business, where exactly the business stands, and what are the measures that we ourselves are taking. Apart from it, we also figured that these are the times when it would be difficult for our teammates to actually engage with each other. So we did organize few virtual offsites over Zoom itself to boost that engagement. And apart from it, we also made sure that there is no fear uh, uh, in the team, and we did this by communicating them that if they or someone from their team someone from their family gets catches COVID or it gets tested positive, we have a COVID fund which they could utilize in terms of a loan, as Ahmed also mentioned, so that
So that's a loan. COVID fund is a loan.
yeah. So we set aside a few amount that could be used for these purposes. Yeah, so that's what we have been doing in terms of keeping the uh, team's morale up. Apart from it, we also understand that uh, working from home is not going to be sustainable for everyone, which is the case with us as well. So we did start a 2 days a week in office for all the teams. So this way, office doesn't has more than 33% of the strength on any given day, which makes it easier to follow all of the social distancing norms. We also publish guidelines to all of the team members on what are the do's and don'ts when they are coming to office, while they are traveling to office, or while they are in office. Also, when what should they be doing when they reach office, reach home back. And we have been very strict on sanitizing all of these door knobs and all, so that everyone is safe. Wearing mask has been become like the norm right now. So
Right.
these are the few steps that we took to bring things back to normal, which is
So
going to
quickly,
be
Aman, if you could
normal
tell
for
us
everyone.
any challenge that came your way to manage your team at this point.
Yeah, so obviously communication has been a little difficult, but we tried to manage it using all of these Zoom calls and casual as well as official meetups. We tried to have more communication, we tried to have more calls so that everyone is aligned to what's going on. That has been one of the challenges, which I think there were already a lot of tools available to use, and most of our things were already online. But it what COVID did was it just pushed us to use those in a much more effective way, the things that we already have. So
So
yeah.
basically, whatever you were supposed to do, COVID was a catalyst for that.
Yeah, so
Okay, I will get back to you on
we
that.
already had a platform for our internal teams as well, to manage all of the applications that we had. So adoption of it got like really fast because of COVID. We had just launched
Naturally,
it.
that
Yeah,
is a catalyst.
yeah, yeah.
Mr. Nora, I will get back to you on that. In the meantime, can I move on to Mrs. Saxena? And sir, if you could give your opening statements as well here.
Yeah, Tanya, thanks for the opportunity. And I would love to share what we have been going through as a brand.
Yeah,
I'm the
please.
founder of Wonder Chef. It is a kitchen appliances brand, a bit premium. So our core target group is somebody who was, let's say, digitally savvy. But we were primarily a retail brand. Like any brand, if it has to become successful and grow in India, it has to be there in retail. So we are present in about 10,000 small shops, what you call the general trade. We are present in about 1,500 department stores. And I'm saying these numbers because while a lot of my fellow colleagues here come from the digital side of the industry, I think there are a lot of companies out there which are brands which are present in retail, and they have been the hardest hit simply because retail has been closed. So that's why I'm just diving a little bit deeper into the numbers. And yeah, so we are very well diversified into retail and digital sales for us, including our own website as well as partners like Amazon, Flipkart, Snapdeal, etc., was barely about 10% of our total sale, which is the norm for any well-distributed retail brand in India.
Right.
Of course, COVID hit us like a storm. One had not expected this while we were all aware of what happened in China and then slowly growing in Italy and all, but it was always at a distance. And on 20th March, when the lockdown was announced, I mean, we were of course not prepared for that. But I must say that the team acted with remarkable flexibility and agility. Within half a day, everything was organized, computers were docked, they were taken to the homes, and we decided, okay, for the next 10 days of lockdown, we will work out of home. And of course, those 10 days became 15 and then 30 and then 4 months. How did we respond to the crisis? Well, we responded in the way that I always have responded to crisis in my life. I've been working for now 27 years. So it's not the first crisis I have faced. In my previous big assignment, I built Sodexo in India, which is a very large company today. And I was the founder of Sodexo in India. And it became very, very big. And we suffered all kinds of crises you can suffer. But I have only one formula, only one solution for anything that hits you, is that turn up to the job and face it. That's what we keep doing day after day. And that's what I did. I promised my team that whether the offices are allowed or not, whether it's work from home, whatever it is, one person would be allowed, at least in the office. We have a large office. At least one person can come in to fix the systems, etc., to maintain. And that would be me. And you would always find me in the office. And whenever somebody has any problem, any challenge, you can call me.
So as a leader, you took that kind of responsibility to show and set an example.
Absolutely. I am in the office every day from 10 in the morning to 8 in the evening. And once the lockdown opened up a little bit, people started coming in. But more importantly, there was quite a turnaround in the company because, of course, we understood that retail will now suffer for a long, long time. And 90% of our sales would suffer. So we had to quickly digitize ourselves in a sense. We had to become a tech company in our thought process and our actions. And I think Wonder Chef has been able to do it remarkably well. Today, as things stand, 70 to 75% of our sale is on e-commerce. And we are one of those rare companies in the retailing space, in the branded product space, which are actually beating last year's numbers. So we are selling more than last year, month on month, even though the retail shops are still not fully open. So there has been an incredible turnaround, and this has been possible because we did certain things. We were not ready for it, but we had to digitize almost overnight. So we involved everybody in the team. We have a 700 people team, and we involved everybody in the team in creating content, in loading the products, and the data on the websites, and working more deeply with the partners. Of course, in the beginning, even the partners could not work because e-commerce activity was also not allowed. But third-party e-commerce was not allowed. But our own website broke all records. Even in April, in the month of total lockdown, we sold very, very well from our own website. And then, of course, the platforms opened from 15th of May. And I
So
would say
then
we were ready for it.
things just kind of took forward from there. So essentially, what you're trying to say here is, as a leader, you've got to stand up to the crisis and you have to set the right example. I think absolutely
Absolutely.
that is a very important thing.
And
Thank you very much for
energize the
that thought.
team, guide the teams every single day.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
I'll
Thank you
just
very much for
add
that
one
thought.
question, one small thing to Ravi. Ravi, did the rise of home chefs in the lockdown help your business?
Yes, thank you
That's a
very
good
much.
one. So, sir, I think what he's trying to ask you is, so people have been cooking a lot during this
Being at home
quarantine. Yeah.
in
So
COVID time.
did that add to your
Yeah.
revenue to your business?
Oh, absolutely. Sorry, I got that wrong. There was a bit of a problem with my earpiece. Uh, Absolutely. I think what happened for the first time is that RTG, which, as I said, is a bit premium, typically they have maids at home. And during lockdown, maids disappeared. And all these sahibs and sahibas, they reached the kitchen and they realized that, my God, this is what we are using in our kitchen. अब पूरा किचन को वंडर शेफ बनाना है. That is the dialogue I hear often. And before the program started, I'm thankful to Ahmed for again pumping me up with that dialogue कि मैंने पूरा kitchen ही वंडर शेफ का बना दिया. So this is what has been happening. If you stick to quality, and the biggest learning here is, and I say to all the
Yeah.
participants who are listening to us, is that if you stick to quality in your product or service, it will come back to you and reward you one day. And that is what happened with us.
And that's, I think, a learning lesson for all businesses. Thank you very much for that thought again. Ms. Sangeeta, I want to move on to you and I want to understand, obviously, your thoughts here and how does this ecosystem director of startups at Microsoft, how does this whole ecosystem work? What has been your learning and any thoughts you want to share with the other founders as well? How do you work at your end?
Right. So thanks, Tanya. Actually, when I was listening to most of you, right, Hemant or Ahmad or Nirav, I don't think the problems that a corporate has are any different from a startup. It's just that, at Microsoft, we always had a work from home policy. We always had an emergency policy. But then a lot of the things that we also started discovering, if a laptop breaks down, how do we even reach out to that person to get the delivery of a new laptop or like fix it? Because in containment zones, deliveries were not allowed and things like that. So while we had the base foundation of processes and how to work in emergency and all, pretty much I think all the corporates also were facing similar issues that anybody was facing, right? It's literally like a new problem, a new shared problem that everybody has. I'll tell you some of the things. I'll focus more on, the team, the employees, what we've been doing in terms of employee engagement and things like that. One is just leading with empathy, because you don't know what problems the other person is going through. Both Ahmed and Hemant basically also voiced that, right? You don't know whether there is added work at home for the person, or there is some, family illness, or kids responsibilities. When everybody comes to office, there is almost like a boundary, right? This is office and this is home, whereas in the new world of things, these boundaries have
That is dissolved. Yeah.
so one is just leading with empathy and just listening to your team people, right? And this was literally an aha moment for me, because I end up talking to a lot of founders, and I think in the first 15-20 days of the lockdown, when I used to have my conversations, the first 10-15 minutes was, just venting. Like, the folks that I was talking to, they were just, it was almost like a release, right? Like, because people don't have anybody to also talk to in some situations. So
Yes.
what we've now started doing in our team meetings is literally the first 15-20 minutes we ask, not always 15-20 minutes, but sometimes when people start talking, we keep that buffer. We ask folks like, what's happening, is there anything? So I think that kind of helps. So leading with empathy in any situation, no matter how difficult the situation is. So that's one. The second thing, I think, what Ahmad mentioned in terms of the work-life balance, right? Today, the reality is we are literally living at work, at 7, 8, 9 p.m. Because we are at home, we are like, okay, I'm a morning person, but I'm okay now these days to take calls late in the night. So just drawing those boundaries for yourself and for your team, that's sort of super important. I think third thing basically is also the fact that there are a lot of distractions when you're working from home, right? So how do you make yourself indistractable when you have you are getting extra time. I'm sure most of you here on the panel must be pre-COVID times, you must be traveling quite a bit, right? So a lot of our time is saved now, but that saved time, how are we basically making it more productive? Are we utilizing it for skilling, for learning something new? It's very much possible, but it's just that at home, there are multiple distractions at the end of the day. So how do you make yourself indistractable and sort of lead with that? Generally, what we've started doing is in our and this is across Microsoft, right? We've started basically sharing one new thing that everybody is basically learning. And it's an open platform. It's like a brown bag office hour session that people come and engage. And I think the fourth thing is just having some fun time, right? A lot of us end up doing these informal, Friday dinners or Friday drink sessions before this whole virtual world existed, right? So now what we are doing is we are bringing a similar sort of format of coming and having a virtual meet. It could be informal, bring your own drink, come chat up for a coffee. I think
but any specific set of challenges that people came up to you with, something that you probably not encountered in a pre-COVID time, but now because of COVID, something accelerated? Anything specific that you'd like to share with us?
I think the mental well-being issues are surfacing a lot more in the post-COVID world than it happened in the pre-COVID world, and people are realizing that people are going because there's just a lot of, at least in the initial phase, initial few weeks and months, there was a lot of negative news also around us, right? So we are seeing a lot of that mental well-being kind of issues surfacing a lot more.
So, okay, that's, and I think that is one of the bigger set of problems that we are facing right now. Thank you for your thoughts there. I want to move on to Mr. Grover now. I think you've had your fair share of listening into everyone, so I'm sure you have comments and a lot of thoughts here. So, if you could kind of walk around what others have shared and share some real life experiences as well from you, I think that'd be really helpful for your statement.
Yeah, so I think our case is very similar to what's for Ravi for Wonder Chef. So we're primarily an offline brand. Till last year, we were having 90% revenues from offline stores. And this year we were almost looking at 5.5 million run rate to cross, and we're hoping that we will really grow big. Online, of course, we had sort of sensed it a year back, and we wanted to be an online company and focus a lot around online, and we were sort of marching it towards. So this fiscal, a lot of execution and investments were into setting up the fulfillment centers across India from the online perspective. But yes, of course, March this hit us, and we were just dumbstruck. 75 outlets in the SORs that just went zero. The retail revenue, which was doing almost 2.5-3 crores a month, went to zero on 21st March onward. April, it was all zero, and we sort of had a hard time because. So our fulfillment centers also all were in the COVID containment zone. So even the retail was, the online was also dead because we couldn't send any merchandise from our containment zones. Teams were panicked around, and we had, as a business, from the management perspective, have hidden a lot of gas on the growth. So which means that the liquidity was obviously a big challenge. We had a lot of inventories and a lot of new stores which we had opened up, and a lot of hiring. So we were at a peak of our ever hired employee rate. We almost crossed 170 people around Feb, and then this happened. So of course, it was a tough decision. We couldn't. So April, sort of, we managed to have.
So you had layoffs.
Yes. So
So that's very interesting. Tell us, how did you manage that situation? Because I'm sure a lot of anger also kind of builds up amongst the peers. So as a leader, I think your role becomes really important. So how do you manage that kind of situation?
Absolutely. So at least somebody who's a founder has and who has built the team from scratch. I have interviewed almost every people we have hired, right from a Mali to a CCA staff. It has gone through me. So I had this attachment with everybody of them, and every time I used to get any resignation or somebody moving on to a different bigger role, I used to had hard night and used to cry, I was going to my management and board saying, this happens, and obviously they made me stronger enough, saying, this is part of the process, and you need to detach this emotions from yourself. Otherwise, you will always be hurt in the whole process. Um but yes, it's easy said than done. It's still hard. Somebody you drink, eat, live with your life, and you have to let those people go. It's always hard. So we had a hard time. We tried to do multiple steps and measures we did. So one, we tried to shift a lot of people from our online to an offline to an online business. So a good person who could have actually was a salesperson. We trained that person or a girl to become a catalog manager, or if she had a good voice and had a good product knowledge, we made them a after sales care representative. So try to absorb as much as possible. But obviously, our cash flows were going down day by day. So it was in March that we had to take this hard call that either we let all the 150 people die, or let at least the 75, 80, grow and sustain and survive for a long term. So it was a decision about the company as
And
well
what
as
about the
about.
people you let go? How do you deal with them? Were there
So
any
it was a hard decision.
security
You have
plans
to
for them
Yes, so we
involved?
had to be communicative. Obviously, we did communicate to a lot of people in advance. We tried. So I tried to work for many of them to got them jobs in the friends and places where I could have. Uh, some of them we offered them to become our business partners, so our franchisee partners in the long term. We told them that so a lot of these people. So two of them contemplated, and we've just started doing a process with them. They will be our partners now instead of our employees. So we tried everything possible to make sure that everything and everybody goes for it. Obviously, we had to go for salary cuts, unfortunately, because we didn't have a view on that. Okay, when will this get over? So in Feb,
If I may interject, I think this is very interesting what you said, that you offered franchisee partnership to some of such people. And one other thing, Tanya, that I think Amu may have experienced, we have experienced, is that with profile like this, people coming from small towns or villages, there was a lot of natural attrition also, which in a way has helped the
yes.
company survive, because there has been migration, and a lot of these people just wanted to go back from their small rooms into their slightly bigger village or town homes where they could live a more healthy life. And I think that has been a bit healthy for the companies rather than being harmful.
True. I think that's true. I mean, for us, almost 75, 80 people were the CCAs who were standing at the front end fighting for us, and getting at the sale from and being the brand for the customers there. Of course, somebody who's at 15, 18,000 or 16,000, it's very hard for them to stay in Gurgaon, manage a lifestyle, or in Bangalore for that matter. And especially when there was COVID and the rent owners were not listening to them. 1 month they sort of settled in, and then there was a lot of fear initially also that I remember in March. I mean, when this happened and I sort of sat down, I knew that okay, there's nothing that could have happened, and this was the only outcome eventually which will come out. The people will start living with it. Today, when there are 60,000 cases, we are still talking, we're still going. I mean, the work is happening. And when there were 3 cases in March 21st, there was a complete chaos. So I think we have adapted to that, which, by March when this happened, we sort of have framed our mind that, okay, now this is how it has to happen. So a lot of people sort of shifted back, which was a good thing. We said, so we put them on LWP for them.
So I'm sure that would have also taught you a lot. I mean, all of you, when
Absolutely.
I speak to all of you, I think all of you as leaders would have also learned amazing lessons. So one of our viewers, I think an RJ from Big 92.7 FM, Kurapati Nitin, he's pretty popular actually. He's also watching the session, and he's actually kind of agreeing with all of you. And on our LinkedIn, he's commenting that I really agree with all my panelists, what they're saying. Kudos to Ahmad and kudos to Hemant. And he's given a thumbs up. So I think people are also kind of relating to that as well. So I do understand where you're coming from. There's a huge learning for you guys as well in this. Quickly, because we are running out of time. So quickly, I want to ask you 2 questions in 2 parts. One, what is the one thing that you have learned new during this time that you had no idea before professionally as a leader of your organization? And one quick personal learning, all of you, that you want to share with, that has nothing to do with your profession. So that's just maybe Sangeeta as a human being or Hemant as a human being. So all of you as a human being. So just in two parts, if you could answer this question. And I'm going to start with Miss Sangeeta. I can now see you on my screen first for some reason. So I'll start with you. One professional learning from COVID and one personal learning from
Um, so personal, I'll start with personal learning. I think just leading with
COVID. Great.
empathy is something that I have realized. I always was. I have been a people person, but this has sort of taught me. And professional learning is discipline. Be indistractable, right? You have time, make the best of the opportunity.
Absolutely. Very good. Thank you very much. Can I move on to you, Mr. Hemant, and have your thoughts?
I think professionally, big learning for me is that work from home works. I think as a founder, I was very averse to it. I remember teams coming and asking me, "Can we?" I said, "No. I want to see all of you guys. I want to be with you guys. We are not doing that. Take as many leaves as you want, but no work from home." So that's one big learning. I think it works well. Uh, Personally, a big learning has been how do you motivate your team members and reduce friction between different teams when you don't have the opportunity to sit across with them. Because as a person, I have the habit of walking across the office, talking to people. When you can't do that, still making sure people are motivated, especially in our case where the work had almost doubled or tripled. So I think personal learning was how do you make sure people are motivated, and for that I think you have to do so many things. You have to get into their issues, what they're having with their partners, to so many things just to make sure they feel comfortable, then you can motivate them back. So that's, I think, a big learning for me.
Absolutely. I think that's very important as well as a leader. But maybe, what I was looking for in the personal part of the learning when you guys talk was maybe some new skill or some hobby that you picked up, something that talks more about you as a person rather than you as a leader. So if maybe you
Yeah.
want to think on that along those
Personally,
lines.
I think I've been quite I've been ignoring a lot of home responsibilities earlier. So I think you can still continue to work and still contribute to cooking and several other things. I'm still bad at it. If I ask my wife, but I think I've improved a lot. So you can be a better contributor to home activities despite being a founder. I think that's a personal learning, and I think I'll get better at it.
I'm sure you will. Thank you very much, Evan, for that. Aman, if you could share your learning.
Yeah, so in terms of professionally, I think one of the critical things that we were doing before COVID was it was growth at any cost. We just had to grow and grow. And once the COVID hit, it hit upon everyone. I think that profitability is equally important, and that we should be taking care of these gross margins and make sure there is a clear path to profitability, making sure that money going out becomes less and less, and we get more money and have innovative ways to engage customers, maybe come up with new products. And also that has been one of the key learnings, that the path to profitability should be very clear in order to
Absolutely.
survive at least. In terms of personal growth, I have also been a little bit involved in getting to know how exactly the house is running. So there has been a newfound respect for everyone uh, at home who has been managing it, and it's also a very difficult thing to do. So yeah,
It is.
yeah,
Absolutely,
yeah,
it is.
absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you for your thoughts. Mr. Ravi, if you could tell us.
Yeah, look, professionally, I think I learned a lot during this time because the whole company digitized. So I had to
Yeah,
lead from the
overnight you
front
said
end.
you had to digitize. So I'm sure that
Absolutely.
must have
So
been one
I
hell
kind
of a
of became
learning.
a tech manager. I learned about performance marketing, how to build campaigns, how to use the Amazon marketing system. And I think there's a whole new word out there, which I had kind of delegated to somebody. But when I dived into it myself, it brought the desired improvements also. And I think that has been great learning that will stay with me for the rest of my career. On a personal front, like everybody else, I learned how to wash dishes very well and how to chop onions and stuff like that. I think, I say it very proudly because that led to the development of a very convenient dishwasher that we are launching soon.
Ah, very nice. Very nice. Thank you. And actually, that would be really helpful.
Yes.
So, Mr. Grover, can I have your learning?
So a lot of learnings and unlearnings have this COVID has bring for all of us. I think for us, the biggest professional, for me personal professional learning is that when you're running on a tiger, sitting on it, you need to be cautious that either you grow really fast or you get eaten by it, and there are no other consequence around it. And we got to change that. So even if we're running on a tiger, we need to make sure that we have a good cash flow for a long term. We are profitable. We have a healthy double-digit profits around it, but still the cash flows when you're growing really fast becomes a challenge. So you keep that in track as a professional, and also being more empathetic. I had been a hard boss, I think, and I need to learn that I need to be more empathetic, and I need to understand somebody else's perspective, because as a leader, when you have the responsibility, I mean, as a founder, as not as a professional CEO, when you're also a founder, you sort of take things and merge things
Very personally.
Personally. So you look
Absolutely.
at everything like, everybody should work like you do, which is not possible. It's your baby, and making that baby for everybody is a hard thing for a leader to do.
Absolutely.
Very true.
So that's something professionally I've learned. Personally, of course, again, a lot of learnings. One thing is that I have started doing what I preach. So I started gardening, which I never used to get time on. So got into gardening full time. And
We can see a beautiful plant also behind you.
Thank you so much. So yes, that's something which keeps me really stress free, gives me a lot of time to think, rejuvenate. And the good part also is that because of work from home, I get to see my kid. She's just a year old. So I've seen her for the last 4 or 5 months, grown from 6 months to a year, and seeing her, which I probably would have missed had there been no work from home, had there been no COVID. So I'm sort of happy that ways that COVID happened, and I had to spend this time with her and look at her more, which I wouldn't have.
One quick question that comes to my mind, totally unrelated, but since you said that your child, your daughter is just 1 year old, I'm just wondering, these kids who are born in this time, maybe abhi ek do saal pehle or during this time, how, what would they think of the world? Because they are born in a world where those gas masks from sci-fi films are a reality. So how as a parent are you going to, I don't know, whenever the end of this is, or whenever, how or when this ends, but how are you going to, impart that kind of information? Because I'm sure when we were young, that was not something that we were taught. क्योंकि ऐसा कुछ था ही नहीं at that time. So I think that would be another challenge, as a parent that would
Yes,
have come.
absolutely. Any
thoughts how you would manage that?
The definition of luxury for our kids gonna change. For us, it was going to a 5-star or a 7-star was a luxury. Today, the luxury is going out and breathing fresh air without a mask. For our kids, or chatting your friends and giving a hug to them is a luxury. I think these are the new things, the new world we are sort of living in, and we are teaching our kids. I hope I'm sure that this is just a phase and will go on, and will be a part of that memory for all of our kids and for us. कि अच्छा चाचू मास्क बाहर पहन के जाते हैं, और my niece asking me that what will happen if I just go out like this and she's not allowed to move. I have to take her out because her mom doesn't allow her to play out because she's too scared. And I think teaching them these things and making them to be a better human being, a better person, I think is what gonna happen. And I think people will,
and that will be another learning for
thing,
you as a parent as well, I think, or anyone who's going through a similar situation. But thank you for that thought. Neerav, if you're on mute from your end, so you're learning.
Yeah, so definitely. So I think professionally, I think the biggest learning we have taken as a company as a whole, and I think I'll kind of agree with Ravi and Anu as well here, is that, so again, idea was to be kind of persistent and kind of believe in the long term. So the idea was that with COVID, a lot of obviously challenges would have come in, but obviously a lot of opportunities and I would say kind of white areas have also opened up. So particularly for us, what we have seen is that the norm of how people would consume furniture was to actually buy furniture, be it first hand or second hand. And now that has substantially changed with the uncertainty which COVID is bringing. A lot of people are more, I would say, kind of accepting this new norm of renting or subscribing for furniture. So that's the same idea we have told with the team as well, that plan for the long term. Obviously, short-term challenges and short-term hiccups will come in. But if we still believe in the long term and are executing for the long term, we'll be able to pass on these small hiccups as well. And in personally, I think one of the things I've been trying to do is like I have never been into gaming, like mobile gaming, etc. I tried my hand onto it just to understand that how people are so crazy and how people are just like have that
What
much
game are you
crazy.
playing?
I try to play Call of Duty and like Warcraft, etc. But I was not very good at it, and I had to finally kind of leave that off again. And apart from that, kind of just kind of learning some new digital courses, to kind of keep myself updated and busy. And yeah, obviously helping around a little bit in the house and etc. But yeah, that's going on right now.
So you're working on yourself as well. I think that's beautiful. And I think gaming, I ideally starts at the age of 5, 6, because I remember my brothers playing it and I never got a hang of it. But now at this age, I really tried. It's not possible. So
Exactly the same thing with me. Like I haven't done gaming
too
in my
old for
early.
it, I think. If
Exactly.
you've not
I
done it
don't
at
get the
that
hang
age.
of it, and I don't even like kind of get the retention of to have that urge to play again. So yeah,
Yeah.
so out of that age
I
bracket now.
feel that. Exactly, out of that age bracket. Thank you very much
True.
for sharing that, Nirav. Can we move
Yeah.
on to Mr. Rahma? Then if you could also, share your learnings with us.
And you have learned so many things professionally. I think one thing that most of us know already is that the importance of having a lean mindset, no matter how big you become, making sure that you're lean at all times, making sure that you're doing small experiments, and whichever experiment is working, then blowing that experiment up in terms of your daily functioning at work. We into practice in the past 3 months, and we developed new service offerings with the ones that were working, even in the digital ecosystem. I think that's one thing that professionally we learn. We also learn the importance of being resilient in these times, both
And
emotionally
Israel.
strong and physically strong, right? Because we know changes happen. We still don't know how things are going to pan out. So just accepting change, is becomes
That's very
important.
important.
Another thing professionally that we have learned is the importance of speed and being fast, right? Because in this digitally connected world, everyone knows everything. But the possibly the last competitive advantage is being the first one to do it and to do it right, right? So the importance of being fast and quick is something that we have learned, and just overall, not having a mindset of survival is what personally, professionally has helped us. Having a mindset of actually winning in these times, looking at these times to say that this is a great opportunity, and what can we do out of it to come out even stronger, looking at it from that perspective, and even if we don't come out stronger, we'll definitely survive, right? So not having the survival mindset, but a mindset of winning is something that professionally is possibly helped, and something that Sangeeta said, being a better listener and listening not just to respond to people, but now to understand, because you don't know what
Right.
battles people are going through, is very important. On the personal front, I think we all knew that life is short, but COVID has taught us that life is fragile as well, right? So being kind to people, I think, simple stuff like that, being more compassionate, and making sure that it's not just what we do every day at work or in life or at home, but how we do and what kind of people we do it with, right? Just making sure that somehow you're able to contribute. It could be small ways in which everyone has just mentioned, contributing at home, or to someone else. Being more mindful about that, I think that's a personal aspect
Personal learning.
of growth that I've experienced in the past few months. And just one thing I have to add, I cannot miss. The past 3 months have ignited the home chef in me very aggressively.
The wonder chef in you, if I
Yes,
may.
the wonder chef in me has been ignited.
That's very interesting. I think a good takeaway from all of you have gotten here in terms of your personal learnings, your professional learning. The idea of asking you for your personal learnings is equally important as it is for your professional learnings, because more than 100 people are watching you right now. They all look up to you as leaders. They want to understand not only how a leader or a CEO or a founder behaves professionally, but also what goes on in his mind personally, because that in turn impacts and affects how you deliver performance at work. So that is also very important. And how you managed your companies at this point in time, how you're planning to grow, how you dealt with situations like a family member being diagnosed with COVID or layoffs in certain cases. I think they really, I'm sure they would have really benefited people who are watching us right now and giving us so many thumbs up and so many comments on Facebook and LinkedIn as well. So on that note, big thank you to all of you. I actually do have a lot more questions, but unfortunately we don't have that kind of time at hand. Had it been a physical event, probably I would have dragged it on for a little more time, but right now, not really a good idea. But sure, I'll happily probably see you again in one of our other sessions. So many questions left unsaid, so many answers yet to be given, and interesting insights from you are always welcome. So thank you very
Tanya,
much.
thank you. Thanks to you. You were very good. Great moderator and better than somebody whom we all don't know.
Sir, thank you very much. That made my day.
Yeah, you have let us speak as well. Yeah, that's great.
All right. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everybody.
And just
meeting
one
you.
quick note, before we disconnect. So the entire recording of this session would be on our Facebook page, ObserveNow Facebook page. So if you want to re-watch it or just share it in your network, you can go to our Facebook page and it will be the first post there. So thank you very much and have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Stay safe. Bye.
Stay safe.